Cole, I need the retractor.
I'm using it right now.
Seriously?
Yeah, I don't like touching bread. Creeps me out.
Give him the stupid retractor.
Hi and welcome back to Screen Orb. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at actor replacements that totally ruin the movies. Subscribe to the channel and comment down below saying I subscribe to enter this month's shout out giveaway, where we shout out one lucky person every month who subscribes and comments saying I subscribed. Now let's get into actor replacements that totally ruined the show. Now let's get straight into this countdown. Number 9. The Office. It's hard to believe how close The Office came to being cancelled after its first season with works in movies like Anchorman and Bruce Almighty. Steve Carell was a reputable comedian, but it's because of his breakout role in The 40-Year-Old Virgin that The Office received a reasonable following. Carell was now in high demand, working as the zany Michael Scott by day and acting on Hollywood movie sets by night. Well, not literally, but like how most good things come to an end. So did Steve Carell's contract with NBC. After the 7th season stumped and in desperate need of a new regional manager, Dunder Mifflin jumped the gun and hired Robert California, respectively played by James Spader, as the new company's CEO, as for majority of the season 8 were brought to Florida, with most of the cast whom are introduced to the new temporary boss Nellie Burtam, as they're opening a Sabre store only for the majority to revert back to pre-season 8 when David Wallace buys bagged under MILF near the end. It was a very uneventful season, which explains its poor audience reputation. Eventually the void was filled with just a whole mess of vanilla characters like Gabe, Nellie, and the two temps Clark and Pete in season 9, along with Andy Bernard, played as Ed Helms, apparently becoming Scranton's new regional manager. Number 8. Community was more so the unsung hero of NBC, never receiving the attention it deserved despite its critical acclaim achieved through their talented ensemble cast. Storyboard writers with producers such as abysmal primetime ratings, however, NBC decided to jump ship after 5 seasons, allowing Yahoo the rights to produce the show for their own online streaming service, Yahoo Screen, similar to the next week's in Hulu and Prime Video. However, the series losing the likes of Chevy Chase in season 4, Donald Glover mid-season 5, and Yvette Nicole Brown not running with Yahoo, series writers had to work around the gap. Joel McHale, Danny Pudden, Alison Brie, and Gillian Jacobs were still around with the addition of Paget Brewster, Keith David, and Breaking Bad's Jonathan Banks. But it was the natural chemistry from the original 7 that the new ensemble lacked. Plus, they were running out of good ideas. Season 7 was scrapped and the lack of viewers and overall ad revenue, Yahoo Screen predicted, partially led to a $47 million loss and the streaming service being closed entirely. Community is available elsewhere, however, like Prime Video and Hulu, and we personally recommend giving it a watch. Number 7. 2.5 Men, an utter veteran in film and television. By the time his role as Charlie Harper came around, Sheen had already featured in more than 50 movies and a dozen shows since the 70s. Though it wasn't until 2.5 Men rolled around when Sheen became somewhat of a household comedy star. By Sheen's final run on the show in season 8, he would be earning $1.8 million per episode, despite apparent production issues due to the substance abuse and rehabilitation efforts. That, combined with the feud between him and the series producer Chuck Lorre, eventually led to his dismissal from 2.5 Men and Warner Brothers altogether. Charlie Harper was given an abrupt, off-screen ending in the season 9 premiere and were met with the suicidal billionaire named Walden Schmidt, portrayed by Ashton Kutcher. It's not to say Kutcher never performed adequately, but we're just left to kind of forget about the raunchy brotherly humor. Eventually, Jake Harper, played by Angus T. Jones, followed as well by leaving for the military in season 10, only to be matched with Charlie Harper's apparent daughter, Jenny, in season 11. By now, the show has steered its way into a dark pit with ratings that could never match the original cast. Number 6. That 70s Show. No fourth and centric drug-filled humor, that Saudi show can also be attributed to jump-starting the careers of most of its cast members, including Mila Kunis, Ashton Kutcher, Laura Prepon, and Topher Grace. It was towards the end of season 7, however, that Grace and Kutcher decided to leave the show, with Kutcher saying his goodbyes early on in the following season before moving to Chicago. The way Topher Grace's Eric Foreman was portrayed on the show as a spineless wimp who had to do his part in the decision, but he mostly wanted to pursue roles in film on short notice. Just Myers was brought in to fill both roles as Brandy Peterson, essentially a taller carbon copy of Eric Foreman, always spewing one-liners and briefly dating Donna Bone Shoddy. It was obvious that producers had jumped the shark. Eric was given the opportunity to reconcile with Donna in the season finale though, so that's got to count for something, right? Number 5. Charlie's Angels. This 1970s crime drama was no stranger. The cast changes after losing Ferrera Fawcett post-season 1. Ratings stayed around the same but would end up being the addition of Cheryl Ladd, who plays Chris Monroe, that would be the show's downfall. Add original member Kate Jackson, who played Sabrina Duncan, never saw eye to eye with Ladd on set, but what led to Jackson's eventual departure was a clashing work schedule not enabling her to reach other opportunities. Bad writing was just an added reason. In hopes of bringing the glamour back, the Charlie's Angels Shelley Hack was brought in to portray Tiffany Wells as a direct replacement to Jackson. Unfortunately, the new addition sliced Rainey's nearly in half, and Hack was let go before the season 4 finale even aired. Not even Julie Rogers, played by Tanner Roberts, could even save the show in season 5, and the Angels were finally cancelled in 81. Number 4. Happy Days. After playing Richie Cunningham on Happy Days for 7 successful seasons, Ron Howard decided to part ways and pursue his florist career as a director. As a result, Ricky was written off as joining the US Army. Meanwhile, Ted McGinley was introduced into the set of cast members as Roger Phillips, the new coach/teacher. At Jefferson High, the show's producers clearly jumped the shark with this one, literally. And Happy Days followed a steady decline for 4 more seasons until the fall of 1984, and it wasn't even that McKinley was bad. I mean, sure, he changed the show's dynamic, but it was more so about the audience needing a scapegoat. After the loss of Round Howard, this sort of gave McKinley the reputation of the show's killer. After other shows like Dynasty and The Love Boat plummeted also after his late arrival. Number 3. Blue's Clues. The 90s, for game-changing and kids programming with Nickelodeon classics, hybrid interactive shows about a man and his blue cartoon dog solving clues being resolved. But it was Steve Burns' portrayal of Steve, our striped shirt host and a good friend that helped him, and the show stand out above all the rest. From all his quirks and interactions between us and him and Blue to help them solve a new mystery every episode, Burns held a major role in both the show and our childhoods for 6 years, from 1996 to 2002. Blue's Clues was TV's highest rated show for preschoolers, but despite its massive success, after a modest 100+ episodes, Steve Burns decided to leave production in hopes to find new opportunities. Respectively, he pursued music as an alternative, releasing several albums under Steve Burns and The Struggle. Nickelodeon subsequently hired Donovan Patton to portray our new green sweater-wearing host, and Blue's new caretaker, Joe Burns. Unlike most character replacements, however, in a primetime TV special, Steve was able to say his goodbyes before leaving for college, and the kids at home were given a warm introduction of the Joe, but it was never the same. Pat had proved himself capable of the role, but it was Steve who fans would always associate with the show, and Blue's Clues was canned after 50 more episodes. Number 2. Simple Rules. After the unexpected passing of John Ritter in 2003 and ABC's decision to continue filming the series, changes were abruptly made, and David Spade and James Garner were brought in as cousins CJ and Grandpa Jim to help complete season 2 and feature in season 3. The show gave Ritter a warm goodbye by announcing the loss of Paul Hennessy, their cranky but loving father, and share the news by giving his character the same falling out as he had, which was a sudden heart attack. The show's narrative drastically changed, and rather than falling around an intrusive father, the family was left mourning, as were we when ABC decidedly cancelled 8 Simple Rules after its 3rd and final season in 2005. Number 1. Scrubs. Met with critical acclaim early on this lifespan, the dramedy follows a crop who played a young doctor, Michael Dorian aka JD, as at the time he uniquely narrated over his point of view. The show ran for a modest 7 seasons on ABC before being dropped, and because no official finale was ever conceived, ABC picked it up as a cash grab. The cast and crew put together what they thought would be the final season, only for ABC to renew it once more. As expected, there were some major changes, one being Brack's exit from the series after what it was planned to be the show's last episode, and the fact that the show now took place at a medical school instead of a hospital. In what world would 2 well-paid surgeons opt out to become medical professors? What's more is the show still needed its main character and narrator, so the producers brought in Carrie Bish to play Lucy Bennett at the end of it. She or anyone else just couldn't fit those scrubs left behind by Braff. And with that said, that concludes what are the actor replacements that totally ruined the shows or movies. Thank you very much for watching today's video. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and like the video for more amazing content. And don't forget to check out the other 2 videos you see on screen.